Okay, we'll get started. Welcome to Thursday's session. Thank you so much for joining as always. We're going to be doing a bit of an all-over body flow today, which is always one of my favourite classes to teach because we just do a little bit of everything. And it just means we really concentrate on breathing, kind of our alignment, all the actual kind of important things we should be focusing on when it comes to yoga. Obviously you guys have been coming for a while now, so you know the score with a lot of the moves. So yeah, I guess the main focus is breathing, as it always should be. And if we're not, sometimes if we're doing quite taxing moves or doing things we're not familiar with, it's quite hard to remember to breathe and to kind of relax into the flow. So most of what we're doing today you guys will be familiar with. So it just means we can really focus on our breath. Which is, yes, the fundamental part of yoga. So we shall start lying on our backs. As I have said, if you are not already there, you can make your way there and either have the knees just resting in towards each other with your feet quite wide, or we can have the soles of the feet together and the knees kind of flopping out to the side. Obviously that's a very good opener for your hips, so if you want to have a bit of a hip opener, or if you want to kind of release the lower back a little bit more, which is where I'm going today, we can have our knees just resting in towards each other. And remember, with yoga it's your practice, so I am here to guide you through, but if there's something that you feel you'd get more benefit out of, or when we are in poses like this, you can have a little play around. Especially in the comfort of your own home, you can go a bit crazy. So yeah, always feel free to make your own decisions when it comes to yoga. It's your body and your practice. So just to have that in mind throughout the class today. So settling in to our nice reclined position, let's bring our hands onto our belly and start to feel into our breath. So usually as soon as we put our hands onto our belly, we automatically start breathing a little bit deeper because it's kind of natural to want to feel the hands move. So yeah, you might automatically start to breathe a little deeper, and then maybe a bit deeper still. Really start to feel the belly expand and then kind of compress as you breathe. I'm trying to take the breathing nice and slowly, nice and steadily, evenly. So making your inhales and exhales the same length. So rather than kind of sucking up your inhale really quickly and then long exhale, all the other way around, let's try and really even the breath out. And when we slow down the breathing like this, it's brilliant for our bodies. It's really good for our nervous system. We stimulate what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our kind of rest and repair, our relaxation mode. It just kind of slows things down. If at any point you need to return to normal breathing, please do so. Maybe seeing if you can make your inhales even bigger and your exhales even longer. Really using every part of our lung, cleaning out all the old air on our exhales and breathing in a whole lungful of nice fresh air on our inhales. Good, and letting the breathing just return back to normal. And then focusing on just softening the body, softening the face, the neck maybe, the shoulders. If you have got your knees apart, maybe just using your hands to bring your knees together. So we'll all end up with our knees together and feet nice and wide. And then we'll bring our hands into our cactus shape. So elbows in line with the shoulders, fingertips pointing kind of up and away behind us. You might want to just lift the shoulder blades and just kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. Might help just to open up the chest. Or if you need to have your arms straight and just kind of down by your sides, that is also fine. And let's start to windscreen wiper the knees from side to side. So just opening up the hips a little bit, getting some movement into the hips. And just noticing how you are feeling today. Obviously the weather has changed. We're coming towards the weekend. Moods can be very different according to the weather. So just noticing how you're feeling, how that affects your body, how that affects your physical practice. Taking it easy if you need to, or firing up some energy if you need to. Just being aware. Okay, bringing your knees to center, we'll squeeze the knees into the chest, coming into a little ball. And when we are there, let's do our ankle circles. So just moving the feet around one direction, then the other. Really working into those crunchy ankle joints. Mine are cracking a lot today. Okay, pointing the toes and flexing the feet. Pointing the toes, flexing the feet, and point and flex. Good. Okay, taking some circles kind of from our knees, so we can just put our hands on our knees and then just move, try and just move our lower legs. Obviously our hips will move a little with this, as our legs all kind of as one. So just focusing on getting the circle motion into your knee joint. Taking circles both ways if you can. Good, squeezing the knees back in, moving into our hip circles. So let's just take one leg at a time, keeping the other leg kind of squeezed into the chest and just drawing big circles with your knee, with your hand on your knee. Just really working into that hip joint, trying to keep the other hip grounded into the mat. So watch you're not lifting that hip up, keeping the spine nice and straight. And onto the other leg, remembering to take our circles both ways if that feels all right on our hips. Obviously, each hip might feel very different. We are not symmetrical, much as we'd like to be. Well, I don't know actually, would we? Maybe. Okay. Squeezing the knees back in. Let's keep a hold of the left knee, squeeze it in nice and tight, and let's extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Do not worry if it's straight or bent. And then we're going to lower down, pointing the toes, straightening as we lower. So at some point your leg will probably become straight, and we're just going to hover that leg off the floor just a couple of inches if you can. So still pointing out through that toe. With the left foot we're going to flex it, so pull the toes back towards the knee and squeeze that left knee in towards the chest. Trying to keep our shoulders on the floor, keep our neck relaxed, our head relaxed. Breathing here. Good, okay, bringing the right knee in, bending that in, switching our hands to squeeze the right knee into the hip, into the chest, and then extending up the left leg towards the ceiling, pointing the toes as we extend that left leg down, reaching away from us with our toes, hovering above the mat, just a couple of centimeters. And then we're going to point the left toes, flex the right toes, squeeze that right knee in, and really engage that left leg as it extends out away from you. And breathe. Good. Okay, bringing that left knee in, squeezing both knees in, and let's lift our head, lift our shoulders up towards our knees. See if we can touch our knees with our head tight into a little ball. And then releasing our head and shoulders back down to the mat. We're going to rock and roll our way up to seated. We can take a few little rocks. Just finding a nice little curve in the spine. All the way up to our cross-legged position. Always sitting on support. If you want to sit on a brick or a block or a book or a cushion, absolutely do so. Trying to find that length through the spine, so really feeling kind of support in your lower back. It can be helped by sitting on a bit of support. So once we are there, let's find that length in the spine, sitting up nice and tall, grounding down through the sit bones and feeling kind of the points of contact with the earth, grounding down as we lift up through the upper half of our body. Let's take our neck stretches, so dropping one ear down to the shoulder, and then semi-circling down so the chin meets the chest, and up the other side. Back the other way, remembering to pause wherever you need to. If you have a little bit of tightness anywhere, just pausing and just teasing it out. Good. Lifting the head back up to center, taking our shoulder rolls. Shoulders up to the ears, pulling them back and down. And you can take this movement as slowly as you need. Really kind of feeling into each part of the shoulder kind of movement. There's lots going on there. Taking the circles forward as well. And then just letting the shoulders melt back and down. Coming into our side stretch. So one hand to the floor, other hand up and over. We're going to pause in our side stretch today. So making sure we're breathing. And just watching, we're not kind of leaning forward with our side stretch. It's better to kind of come up a little bit and really be coming over to the side. So maybe taking your gaze up towards the ceiling just to help open up the kind of top half of the chest. And making sure that our weight is still even on our sit bones. Maybe not even, but pushing down into the outer sit bone. So we can really get the stretch all down the side. Good, coming up and over. And when we're breathing, really kind of focusing your attention onto the area we're stretching. So really breathing into your side body here, which does sound a little bit strange, but I don't know, when you kind of focus your attention on a part of the body, it seems to react. Maybe not all the time. Just really seeing if you can find a little bit more space as you exhale, as you soften. Good, coming up to center. Bringing our legs out in our 10 to 2 position, so knees bent. Keeping our spine nice and tall. Bringing our left hand down inside our left leg, so kind of reaching down towards the ankle. We'll reach our right arm up and over into our open twist. So trying to find a straight line between the arms here, and you can use a little bit of pressure between your left arm and left leg just to help twist you a little bit further. Bringing the right arm back all the way over and down and sweeping across to the other side, reaching up and away with the left hand. Remembering to breathe. And bringing the left arm back over to center. We're going to cross the legs again, this time crossing the other way. So bringing the other foot in first to what you would do not usually. Oh my goodness, can't speak today. And bringing the hands into our prayer position. So when we bring our hands into our prayer position, you can push, like kind of have some pressure between your hands. We want our fingers nice and wide. It's quite an active position, this. Press your hands together, and that will help to kind of open up the chest. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing together, kind of down your back. And then maybe kind of experiment with your elbow position a little bit, so you get pressure all through your hands. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, we'll clasp our fingers, push the palms out in front of you, straightening out the arms, and then slowly lifting up the hands above your head, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. Breathing here. Releasing the hands, bringing the hands nice and wide, just resting on the floor behind you, and open up the chest, coming into a little mini back bend, taking your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then let's take a big inhale, reaching the arms up high, back into your prayer position. Clasping the fingers the other way, so bringing your other thumb on top or your other pinky on the bottom, stretching out the hands. And then lifting up and above. Breathing. Such a strong position this. It doesn't look like much, but goodness me, it's hard work. Releasing the hands all the way down, opening up the chest. Taking your gaze up towards the sky. Good. Okay, rolling over the knees, coming onto all fours. Having our fingers nice and wide, like we do in our prayer position, like we do whenever we have our hands on the mat. So really finding the full range of our thumb to our pinky. Knees hip distance apart. Let's come into our shoulder sweeps first. So reaching forward with our left hand, wiggling those fingers forward, finding a little bit of a stretch down the left side of the body, and then sweeping up, back, up and down. So we can inhale as we sweep up, exhale as we come down. And next time your hand reaches up to the ceiling, pausing up there, we're going to pivot on our right knee, bring our left foot out towards the end of the mat, flatten that left foot so it's parallel to the edge of the mat, and then let's move our hips kind of forward so our left foot, hips, right knee, right hand are all in line. And then let's bring those left hand, left fingertips up and overhead, finding our full body side stretch. If you want a little bit extra here, we can lift up that left leg. A little bit of core strength, optional extra. And then bringing everything back down to the mat, coming back to all fours. Other side, reaching forward with our right fingertips, creeping those right fingers forward, kind of almost leaning into that side body, and then sweeping up and down, inhaling to come up, exhaling down. Good. Next time your reaches up to the ceiling, pausing there. Let's pivot on our left knee, bringing the right foot out, parallel with the edge of the mat, and just shifting the hips forward just in case they've sunk back, making sure our body is all in one line. When it is, let's reach our right fingertips up and over, reaching out through those right fingertips so that arm is straight, that top arm is straight. If you want an optional extra, we can lift up that right leg. Breathing wherever you are. And then bringing everything back down to the mat. Good. Okay, realigning ourselves. Let's take some cat-cows. So as we inhale, looking forward, belly dips down. Exhaling, spine pushes up to the sky. And really trying to follow the movement with the breath here. So trying to take one movement per breath. Inhale as you move forward. Exhale as you kind of close down. And if you can, slow down the movement and slow down the breath. Good. Okay, finishing off your round and then meeting in a neutral spine, so flat back. Pushing up through the hands, kind of pushing down through the knees and the tops of the feet as well. So you're really pushing the earth away from you. We are going to extend out the left leg and the right hand at the same time, and then slowly lift them up to shoulder height to hip height. Let's straighten out that left leg, toe pointing down, pushing back through the heel. Right fingertips pointing away. Holding here. Making sure we're not sinking into our lower back, so really using our core to engage our kind of abdomen area, supporting the back, supporting the spine, and then bringing everything back down to the mat. Good. Other side, sliding out our right foot, left hand, and then raising all in one. Right toes pointing down. Just making sure that right leg isn't coming up too high. We're trying to create a straight line here. And then tucking that belly button towards the spine. So really engaging your core here, protecting your lower back. Reaching out through the left fingertips, straightening that back leg. Breathing. And then coming down. Good. Tucking the toes under. Shifting the weight back onto the heels, lift our hips up nice and slowly into our downward facing dog. Taking a look at our hands, making sure our fingers are spread nice and wide. Taking a look at our feet, making sure our heels are tucked behind our toes and we're hip distance apart. And then stretching out one leg, then the other, paddling into our dog. Finding some stillness, so just melting the heels down towards the earth. No worries if your knees are bent, that's absolutely fine. We have all the same things going on. And then let's bring our knees nice and wide, toes together, sinking the hips down, coming into child's pose. So resting the head down on the floor, or on a block, or any other support that you've got if you need. And then your choice while we're in child's pose, you can make it quite an active child's pose. If you want to walk the hands a little further away from you, push down on the hands and lift the elbows up off the floor, and then we kind of melt the chest and the armpits down towards the earth. So this is just an active way of doing child's pose to get a bit of a stretch through the arms. I really enjoy doing this. I find it's a really nice stretch through the armpits and kind of into the shoulders. It might not be for you, in which case just take a nice restful child's pose, completely your choice. Wherever you are, remembering to breathe, keeping it steady, keeping it even. Good. Okay, coming back up into our downward facing dog. So through all fours, tuck the toes under, lifting the hips up high. Downward facing dog. Relaxing your head, maybe giving your head a little shake from side to side. Lifting the hips up a little bit higher, pushing down through the hands, straightening those arms, broadening across the top of the shoulders. And then look forward. We're going to walk or step up to the front of the mat. Into our ragdolls, so bending the knees, holding on to opposite elbows, side. Releasing the hands down to the mat, uncurling our way all the way up to standing. Good. Making sure our feet are hip distance apart, toes pointing forward. So just making sure the outside edge of your feet are parallel with the edges of your mat. So it might look like your feet are slightly pointing inwards, but that is good. Lifting up our thighs, so lifting up our kneecaps, so engaging our thighs, rolling the shoulders back and down. Bringing our hands into our prayer position, clasping the fingers, pushing the palms out towards the front. And then slowly lifting up those away from the ears, and watch you're not kind of bending into your lower back as well. So really tucking that tailbone under, keeping strong through the core. And then bringing the arms out nice and wide, reaching out nice and wide, clasping the hands behind you, squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeezing the heels of the hands together if you have that space. And then bending into the knees, forward folding, arms come up and overhead. Breathing here. And then bringing yourself just up halfway, releasing the hands, bringing the hands down and up in front of you, coming into our squat. So reaching the hands kind of diagonally up and away, tucking the tailbone under, strong through the legs. Optional extra here, coming up onto the tiptoes, even if your heels just lift a tiny little bit. Lowering the heels back down, bringing yourself all the way up to standing, hands come together into our prayer, clasping the other way this time. Reaching out in front, all the way up. And I definitely have a tendency here as I come up to kind of swing into my back. So watch when you come up, tuck the tailbone down, engage your core, try to keep that torso really firm as you come up. It's hard to do, I struggle. And then releasing the hands, coming all the way down, clasping the hands the other way behind your back. And again, rolling the shoulders back and down. Can we straighten the arms? Can we squeeze those hands together? Breathing here. Bending into the knees, forward folding. Letting the head hang. Releasing the neck. Bringing yourself just up halfway to release the grip on your hands, sweeping the arms down and forward, back into our Utkatasana, kind of with our wide legs. Coming up onto the tiptoes again, if you want to, it is optional, as is everything. Lowering the heels, coming all the way up to standing, nice big inhale, exhale, forward folds. Inhale into our halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the mat, stepping back with our left foot, lowering the left knee down, low lunge. Inhale, the arms up to the sky. Bringing the hands down to cactus. As we inhale, open up the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, squeeze the elbows in front. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, reaching the arms back up to the sky and exhaling down. Tucking the back toes under, stepping back to our full plank. Lowering the knees if you need to, coming into our half plank and then coming all the way down to the mat, squeezing the elbows in, coming into our back bend, little baby cobra, and exhaling down, pushing up 3 hands and knees, tucking toes under, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Stepping the left foot forward this time. So nice big step forward with the left foot. See if we can get the left foot as far up as we can every time we do it. Try and get a little bit further, reaching the arms up into our low lunge, into our cactus arms. Inhale, opening up the chest. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze, and inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling down to the mat, tucking the back toe under, stepping forward, halfway lift. Forward fold. Taking a nice big inhale as we uncurl all the way up to standing. Hands come together through our heart center, back to our forward fold. Halfway lift as we inhale. Exhale, hands come to the mat, stepping back with our right foot this time, lower the knee down. Inhaling up. This time bringing the hands onto the front thigh, wiggling that front foot forward a little bit, and then sinking the hips down, so coming into a really deep low lunge. Powering down through the points of contact with the earth, so we want both legs to be active here. So really pushing down through that back knee, the top of the foot, and the front sole of the foot. Bringing our weight back, rocking back on that front heel into our hamstring stretch. So pulling those left toes back towards you. You can bring your hands down to the mat or just rest them on your thigh, wherever works for you. If that knee is bent, absolutely fine. And then bringing our weight forward, coming into our lizard. So left foot comes out to the side of the mat, pointing out in a slight diagonal. And then we can either stay kind of upright here and just focus on melting our hips down towards the floor, which should give us a really good hip stretch in both hips. Or we can come down onto our forearms, come down onto a block, wherever your lizard takes you today. Just finding your stretch, breathing into it. It's intense on both hips, this pose. So I know it can be quite a lot, but just breathing, focusing your awareness onto the areas that might be hurting or in pain or getting sensations through them. Good. If you're down on your forearms, coming back up onto your hands, we're going to reach the left arm up to the sky, coming into our twist. And again, optional extra here, you can tuck the back toes under and lift up that back leg. Or we can leave the knee onto the ground, completely up to you. Bringing that left hand down as we wiggle that left foot to center. If that back knee is raised or on the floor, it doesn't matter. We're going to step that left foot back, find our full plank. And then lowering to the floor, coming through half plank if you need. Inhaling into our back bend, maybe lifting a little higher this time. And exhaling, making your way up into your downward facing dog. Breathing here. Okay, right hand side, stepping the right foot forward. See if we can squeeze that knee into the chest. Nice big step forward, lowering the left knee down, reaching up to the sky. Hands come down to the front knee, wiggling that foot forward, sinking the hips. Deep stretch on your left hip flexor here. So again, just breathing into that area. Bringing our weight backwards, rocking back on that front heel, pulling those toes back towards you, whether your knee is bent or straight. Finding that nice stretch all the way through your hamstring, the back of your knee, maybe into your calf, maybe into the hip. That's where I'm feeling it today. And then bringing our weight forward, right hand comes inside the right foot points out at an angle, kind of a 45-degree angle, and finding your lizard. It might be very different on this side. So not expecting the same from both sides. That's always really important. Finding your hip stretch today, breathing into the areas that might feel tight. And then wherever you are, coming back up onto your hands if you're not already there, we're going to reach up our right fingertips up to the sky. Tucking the back toe under for an optional leg lift. If you are lifting up that knee, trying to really push the back of the knee up towards the ceiling, so really strong, straight back leg. And then bringing that right hand down, at the same time wiggling that right foot inside your hands, and then we're all going to step through to the front of the mat. Halfway lift as we inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, all the way up to standing, coming straight back down again, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the mat, this time stepping both feet out to our plank position. Vinyasa, so lowering down to the floor, taking your back bend. And exhaling up into our downward facing dog. This time we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, so taking it nice and slowly, using our core, and then uncurling all the way up to standing when we get there. Good, rolling the shoulders back and down. Let's bring our hands behind us, so we can either hold onto our wrists or onto our elbows. Or you can do your reverse prayer. My shoulder's a bit not happy, so yeah, we can do a reverse prayer, but just be careful on your wrists and your shoulders with that move. I don't particularly like it, to be honest. It'd be a little bit unnecessary, but that's just because my shoulder hurts when I do it. So finding whatever position works for you this evening. We're going to take a step forward with our right foot, so maybe just halfway up your mat. Yeah, a shorter stride than you would usually take for a high lunge or a warrior two. And we want to have our hips facing square forward. So we don't want our hips to be on the side. So if your hips are kind of facing that way, maybe just widen your stance a little bit. And we want our left toes, our back toes, to be pointing out like our lizard feet, so at a 45-degree angle. Firming up the legs, pushing down with your feet as we forward fold. And we're kind of folding towards this right leg. So it might even feel like you're twisting a bit. That's fine. And then when we're there, pulling that left hip forward in space, pulling the right hip back in space, you'll feel a stronger stretch through that right hamstring, the right calf. Remember, it does not matter how far you come down. It's all about just finding your stretch. Breathing here. And slowly let's lift ourselves up. We're going to bend into that front knee. Keep a hold of the hands behind you if you can. Bending into the front knee, lifting up the back leg, and then straightening the front leg. We're just coming into a bit of a half warrior three here. So trying to find a kind of diagonal balance. So pointing the left toes out behind you, maybe slightly bringing your front body down. Straightening up your standing leg. And then we're going to come all the way up through upright, trying to keep that left leg off the floor if we can. Bring the left knee up as high as you can in towards the chest. So these are the kind of muscles that we need to be able to step through from our downward dog, stepping into our lunges and things. So really good muscles to be working. So try and get that knee as high as you can. And then release. Good. Okay, same on the other side. So stepping forward with our left leg this time, making sure our hips are square, left toes pointing forward, right toes out at an angle, firming up the legs. Move back, otherwise I'll hit my beam. Firming up the legs, really pressing down through the feet. And as we come forward, just imagine you're pulling that left hip back and the right hip forward. So always keeping the hips square on. Breathing here. Slowly bringing yourself up. Coming into our balance. So just bending into the front to lift that back foot up. Straightening up the front leg, firming up the thigh again, and then coming into your kind of half warrior three, pointing that back toe away from you. And then slowly, with control, let's come up through upright, bending into the right knee, so bringing the knee up nice and high, keeping the left leg straight that whole time if you can. Lifting that right knee as high as possible, keeping the left leg straight, so firmly. Good. Relaxing down, releasing the hands back into our sun salutation. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step out to our plank or half plank. Lowering down with control. Inhaling into our back bend. Exhaling, coming up into our downward facing dog. Good. Okay, we're going to step the right foot forward. So nice big step forward, using those muscles we've just used to lift that right knee nice and high. Coming into our high lunge. So keeping that back leg lifted, reaching the arms up to the sky. Pivoting on the back foot, so coming into our warrior two. So making sure that back foot's parallel with the back edge of the mat, front toes pointing forward. Nice engaged arms, relax the shoulders. Straightening up the front leg. Reaching forward with the front hand, and then keeping the arms straight, just kind of cartwheeling them down into our Trikonasana, triangle pose. Taking our gaze up towards the top hand, and again trying to find that straight line with our arms, so really engaging the arms. And we're going to lift all the way back up, keeping the legs straight, keeping the arms straight into our reverse triangle. And then bending into the front knee, bringing the right arm down, side angle pose. Left arm reaches up, straight up and away. We're trying to find a straight line from our left foot all the way up through our body into that left arm. Coming back through our reverse warrior, so keeping a bend in the front knee, right arm up and over, left arm can come to your hip, your leg, or kind of wrapped around your back. Cartwheeling the arms all the way over, framing the front foot, stepping back to our plank, lowering down to the mat. Inhaling into our back bend, and exhaling, downward dog. So we're doing all that on the left-hand side next, so taking a couple of breaths here. And then taking a nice big step forward with the left foot, as far forward as you can. Reaching our arms up, finding our high lunge. Warrior two. Remembering if we have a tendency to bring our weight forward, bringing our weight back, shoulders and hips kind of aligned here, so shoulders above hips. Straightening up the front leg, firming up the thighs, strong legs in our triangle pose. Reaching forward with the left hand, straight up to the sky with the right. Breathing. Strong through the legs, let's lift ourselves up, keeping the arms straight into our reverse triangle. And bending into the front knee, left elbow to the front knee, or come into a deeper variation if you know it, bringing the hand down to the floor maybe, absolutely fine. And then sweeping back into our reverse warrior, keeping a bend in that front knee. Cartwheeling the arms all the way over, stepping back into our plank, lowering down to the mat. Inhaling, back bend. And exhaling, downward facing dog, last down dog. So really lifting the hips up as high as you can, melting the heels down, finding that opening in the back of the legs, pushing down through the hands, straightening up the arms. Breathing. And then we'll come down into our child's pose, so knees wide, toes together, hips down, lowering our head down to the mat. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Just noticing how your body is feeling, any tingling, any sensation, any energy. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards our knees, coming to kneeling, but keeping our knees wide and toes together. We're then just going to drop our hips over to the right and bring our right foot just kind of next to our left thigh. So our left sit bone will lift up a little bit off the mat, that's fine. Just try and keep it kind of pushing down towards the mat as we sit here, and left toes are pointing back and away from you. As we inhale, reaching the arms up high. As we exhale, twisting round to the right. So left hand comes to the left thigh, right hand comes kind of just behind you, just to support you. Let's keep our spine tall. Let's take a big inhale, reaching up to the sky. And as we exhale, the left hand comes to our left and we come into a side stretch. Right hand reaches up and over. This is my new favorite move. Those who were in my class yesterday. So this might be appearing a few times. Breathing here. One more time, let's take a big inhale, reaching up to the sky, and exhale as we twist, and then breathing into the twist. On our next inhale, sweeping the arms up, and then floating over into our side stretch. Okay, inhale, lifting the arms up. This time we're going to bring the right hand down beside us, keeping the left arm up, lifting up our hips, coming into a bit of a full kind of body stretch. So finding that opening in the front of the hips, reaching kind of back and away from us with that left hand. And then lowering the hips down. Both hands come down in front of us. We're just going to bring the weight forward. Just kind of windscreen wiper our feet over to the other side, bringing our hips down. So this time our left knee's in front, left foot kind of resting just next to the right thigh, right toes pointing back. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, coming into our twist. So right hand to the left thigh, left hand behind us. Breathing once we are here. Next big inhale, reaching up and into our side stretch. And again, inhaling up and then exhaling down into our twist. When you are ready, back up and over to the side. Reaching up, left hand comes down, lifting up the hips, keeping that right arm up, and we can kind of, as we push the hips forward, maybe bring the right arm kind of back, finding that lovely opening across the front of the body. And then lowering the hips down, good. Bringing the legs round, straight out in front of us. Coming into our forward fold. So please bend the knees here if you need to. It's absolutely fine. It's quite hard to sit with our legs straight out in front of us. Pull the toes back towards us. Reaching up, finding length through our spine first. And as we forward fold, let's lead with our chest. So let's try and not curve into the spine. Lead with our chest. If that means we bend the knees more, bend the knees more. And then just finding our forward fold. So really we're trying to get a stretch through the kind of backs of the legs, the backs of the hips into the lower back here, which is why we want to try and keep the spine straight and supported. Using your exhales, always using the exhales to soften, to release. to find a little bit more space in the stretch. Good, okay, coming up to seating. Into our Navasana, boat pose. Bringing the legs together, finding our sit bones. When we are ready, coming into our boat pose, finding our balance. Reaching the hands out. Squeezing the legs together, engaging the core, smiling. And releasing, curving around our legs. And again, lifting up into our boat. Can we lift the legs a little higher maybe? And releasing. Okay, one more time. Optional extras. We can come back into normal boat pose if you want. If you want to have a little bit of a play, a bit of an experiment, we're going to come into our boat pose, but we're going to keep the feet kind of close to us. And while we're balancing, in fact, no, actually, let's do this with our feet on the floor first. Bring your heels to the floor, and then we're going to grab our toes in a yogi toe lock. So we bring the first two fingers of our hand in between our big toe and our second toe and our sit bone. So we do that with both of our feet, and then we slowly bring the feet out in front of us. So have a little go. See if you can find your balance. It's actually a little bit easier because you've got your kind of, you can pull with your feet and your hands. You've got that momentum a bit more. And then you can maybe try and straighten one leg. Bring it back, maybe try and straighten the other. Don't worry if you fall. I'm wobbling like mad. And then you can maybe try and straighten both legs. So just have a little bit of a play around. Or if you just want to have a rest, that's absolutely fine as well. Then we are going to all come to normal boat pose. We're from here going to come down to the ground. So slowly lowering, stretching out the legs, lowering back down through the back, through the upper body, and releasing. Ah, good. Well done, everyone. Okay. When we are here, let's bring our knees into our chest. We'll take a couple of twists and then finish off with our bridge. So bringing the knees into the chest, having a little rock and roll around if you need to. Just having a little massage through the spine. And then let's take our right knee in, left leg extended. Along the, just squeeze that right knee in, the right hand side. So we can come onto the side of that left hip. It just helps us come into our twist a bit more. Bringing our right hand out at shoulder height. If it works better for you to have your knees together coming into the twist, then please, by all means, keep your knees together. I mean, different twists really do work for different people. So the aim is to try and keep your spine in a straight line, which is why we move our hips. And to try and relax into it, you know, twists should be, we try and make them relaxing and soothing. So maybe having a little play around with your twist until you find one that works for you, and then you can always just take your variation. That's always fine. When you are ready, coming back through to center, bringing your hips back in line with your spine, squeezing both knees in. And then we'll take our twist on the other side. So extending the right leg, shiggling your hips over, and then coming into the twist. Nice, slow, steady breathing here. Starting to feel yourself softening down, ready for our relaxation. And then bringing yourself back to center. Again, bring your hips just back in line. We'll take a couple of bridges. So bringing our feet close to our sit bones, toes pointing forward, hip distance apart, keeping our knees hip distance apart. And then ever so slowly, let's tilt the pelvis up off the mat. And then slowly, slowly, slowly peel the rest of your spine up off the mat. Lifting the hips nice and high, really strong through the feet and the legs here. And then slowly lowering down in your own time. Let's take a couple more rounds of our bridge in your time. Slowing down the breathing, softening the face. Relaxing around the neck. And when your hips next meet the floor, let's come into our Shavasana. So maybe bringing your legs extended and nice and wide, feet flopping out to the side, arms nice and wide or resting on your belly. Palms facing up to the ceiling if you have them wide from your body, and maybe just tucking the shoulder blades in towards each other. Remembering in the freedom of your own home, you can grab blankets or duvets, get nice and comfortable. If you need a little support for your head, a little pillow under your head, that can be really lovely as well. So just really making it your time. And much as we kind of want to fall asleep in our Shavasana, it is still a yoga pose. It's an awareness. And it's awareness that we're relaxing, that we're actually giving this time to ourselves at the end of our practice to relax and to just fully embrace kind of our bodies, how we're feeling. And to thank ourselves for practicing, for giving ourselves that time. Then maybe just taking your awareness down to your toes, to your feet. Just relaxing where you can, relaxing around the ankles, coming up into the calves, the knees, the thighs. So just letting your legs be really heavy and soft, like spaghetti. Relaxing around your hips and your back, your belly, moving up into your chest, your middle back, all the way up your spine into your shoulders. Just noticing if you're carrying any tension anywhere. Quite often we kind of tense without even realizing it. And then as soon as you take your attention to that area, you can notice it and you can let it go. Letting your chest feel heavy, your upper back feel heavy. Into your shoulders, down through your arms, your forearms and your hands. Your fingers, your palms. All softening, releasing. And then finally up to your head, your heavy, heavy head. Maybe giving it a tiny little micro shake from side to side. And then just letting it rest where it naturally falls. And softening all the skin around your head. So not only your face, your forehead, your eyes, but into your scalp, your ears, behind your ears, the back of your neck. Just feeling your skin be soft and light. Letting your whole body rest and relax. And now we're going to start breathing a little deeper. Maybe wiggling our fingers and toes, so just starting to bring a bit of life back into our bodies. Slowly making our way into our full body pencil stretch. If you like, this is all optional, remember, waking up the body again. If you want to stay in your Shavasana, please stay in your Shavasana. I don't blame you. Squeezing the knees into the chest if you are inclined, left or right, does not matter. Taking a couple of breaths here, just preparing yourself to come back up to sitting, and when you're ready, pushing up through your hands to come into your seated position. Once we are there, finding our tall spine, so lifting up from the sit bones up through the crown of the head. Dropping our shoulders back and down, and then bringing our hands together into our prayer position, blinking open the eyes. Namaste.